sangena ke thina emavulandlela kuphina kuphi emakhaya emadolobheni asiko plus khona lapho bukela khona SABC 1 sithi ke nali ke Yilungelo Lakho, it's your right. Senibukela bekunene mina ke ngisimpiwe eNcongwane. Bathenge betimoto ke bathwele ke bumadima bekuthi ke uma bathenga timoto ke baphocelelwa ukuthi bathathe ema warrant nema service plans lafuna ke ngilabo labakaleto timoto, but that will soon be a thing of the past as consumers will now be able to shop for warranties and service plans of their choice. Asizingene zabene namhla. Now, each time a consumer buys a motor vehicle, they are forced to use the car maker's preferred repairer or supplier of parts, or else the consumer risks losing the warranty on their car. But now the Competition Commission has come to the rescue of the consumer, giving them a choice. Now, to unpack this liberating ruling by the Competition Commission, we're joined via Skype by Sisa Mbanga from the African Panel Beaters and Motor Mechanics Association, and we also hope to be joined by Lucius Bodibe, lomelelege motor industry ombudsman. Spinza sibena Hardin Rachisusu, lomelelege Competition Commission of South Africa. Now, gentlemen, a very good morning to you. Sanbonan.
Morning. Siyabulele ukungena ehlelweni. Fulele ithuba esilifumanayo.
Siyabonga ukuhlanganyela nathi. Babe Rachisusu, ngicela ngabe ukuthi what really necessitated this move, because it certainly is good news for consumers and especially car owners after a devastating year 2020. Ukuthi ke ingabe yini ke lokuphocelele le commission ukuthi ke ikhiphe lo mthetho lonjena.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your viewers. Indeed, we started this process in 2017. And the reason we did that was that we were receiving a multitude of complaints as the Competition Commission that there are exclusionary arrangements between original equipment manufacturers and approved motor body repairers, which then exclude the independent body repairers. Even the processes that the OEMs follow to appoint repairers was an issue. We have found the exclusion of independent service providers in the market for service and maintenance and mechanical repairs of in-warranty motor vehicles. There's unfair allocation of work by insurers. There are restrictions on the sale of original parts. There are very high barriers to entry for small and medium-sized enterprises. And overall, we found that there's lack of competition in the space, given all of these exclusions. Hence, we intervened and we engaged these stakeholders from 2017, of course, following approaches from other countries, Russia, China, European Union, USA, and Australia, where there are a lot of pro-competitive measures that have been implemented in this space. And strangely for us was that these OEMs, though domiciled in most of them in the European Union, were not implementing these competitive measures in South Africa. And we started the engagement, hence we have reached now the conclusion and the outcome of publishing the guideline, the automotive guideline. Our preference was for a code of conduct, a voluntary code of conduct, which these OEMs would sign up to, but we could not reach that. Now we have a guideline that we have to enforce as the Competition Commission.
Now, Mr. Rachisusu, well, since the car manufacturers still haven't responded to this ruling, I suppose they are not too happy about it. So were they consulted? Was this an easy process, for you to reach this kind of ruling?
Yes, as I've said, we started this process in 2017, and when we launched this, we did a transparent process, right to repair, where the CISA was there. I was sharing a platform with a multitude of stakeholders where we presented our concerns with the sector. We further then had engagements, bilateral engagements with these OEMs in South Africa. And we went through a very elaborate process where initially we, as I said, we had recommended that they should sign up to a voluntary code of conduct. That some of the OEMs objected. So we thought, okay, well, we cannot have a code of conduct with just a few. We now have a guideline which we have issued in terms of the Competition Act. This guideline is now enforceable. So it's not a matter of choice now by these OEMs. We will be enforcing the guidelines if they do not comply with what's stipulated in the guidelines. We are giving them a window period up until July. So this will take effect in July. From July, where we find that OEMs are not complying with this, we are going to enforce. But our sense, and you're right, we have not had a public reaction from the OEM, so I wouldn't speculate at this point what their view is. But this is a guideline. It's published in terms of the Competition Act, and it is enforceable. It takes effect in July 2021.
Okay, thanks for making that point. Now, Babesi Sambangla, let me also welcome into this discussion. Surely the motor mechanics are elated at this piece of news. So what is your reaction to this?
Good afternoon, Simpiwe, and good afternoon to SABC viewers. We are more than elated. In fact, this is a great victory, not only for the motor mechanics or the SMEs or the repairers, but for the consumers as well. The South African consumers in the automotive space have been robbed for many, many years. And the OEMs, through their dealer network, have been enjoying the monopoly and practicing the unfair competition. So we are very happy about this decision. In fact, what has happened is that we are the one of the organizations, if not the only organization, that lost a complaint at the Competition Commission in 2014. Because it was due to the challenges that are increasingly faced by the motor repairers in the townships and the rural areas. The exclusion that has been taking place there for a long time, that the guys that are in the townships and the rural areas, although they've had the state-of-the-art workshops and everything, but they could still not work in warranty vehicles. And we tried, in fact, before we went to the Competition Commission to engage the OEMs and their representatives. But then we were not lucky. Then we had to appeal to the Competition Commission, and of which Competition Commission started to investigate up until 2017. Yes, Mr. Rashishu is correct. In March 2017, the Competition Commission called all of us, or it was what we call the consultative workshop in March 2017, and then they after they've made their research, as I said, they started now, they pronounced that they're going to embark on the process of developing a code of conduct. We're happy for the consumers and we're happy for the entrepreneurs. These automotive guidelines that have been published on the 10th of December 2020, they are going to unlock the competition, and they're going to make sure that the consumers, they can have the right to choose where to service and repair their vehicles. And we anticipate that also the insurance premiums are going to drop drastically, because the premiums are determined by the cost of maintaining and servicing the vehicles. And then on the other side, as the entrepreneurs and the workshop owners, we see that we're going to create a lot of jobs. I think it came at the right time when our economy is not doing well due to many factors, and including the COVID-19 pandemic. Now our economy is bleeding. We are losing jobs. So we call upon that people, they must come into the space. We see a greater future. We thank the Competition Commission under the leadership of Mr. Bonagile and under the leadership of Mr. Rashizu. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Mbangla, I would like to engage you a little bit further after this break, but please stay on the line. We'll certainly take the discussion after this break. And after the break, we hope to be joined by Mr. Lucius Budibe from the Motor Industry Ombudsman of South Africa. Yilungelo Lakho. Siyabuya khona nyana. Welcome back. Our participation lines are now open. Kuthi-ke nawe kungavakalisa umbono wakho. Call us on our studio line 011-714-6918 noma ke 011-714-6919. Our email address is consumer@sabc.co.za. Siyatfolakala futhi na ku Facebook. Now, let's also welcome into this conversation Mr. Lucius Budibe from the Motor Industry Ombudsman South Africa. Baba Mutiba sabongumela hlelweni sawubona baba.
Sawubona ba unjani?
Siyaphila kakhulu baba.
Asiphilile la.
All right, le ruling your competition commission, it's long overdue for some. So what is your reaction to this ruling?
Baba, si supporta wonke umuntu ofuna ukuthi ama workshops nabo somashishini abancane basebenza ngemoto. Nawo bakhona ukusebenza. Kodwa ke ufanele wazi ukuthi thina si office laka noma si motor industry ombudsman siyenza lento bayibiza ukuthi alternative dispute resolution ADR for industry nabantu abathenga imoto. So kuyabonakala ukuthi le ruling lena izoyenza ukuthi ioffice lethu libe nomsebenzi omningi and kuzofunakala ukuthi nama resources wethu ngathi siyawongeza kancane.
So clearly the OEMs, noma ke the manufacturers, will not be too happy about it. So what would their recourse be?
Uyabona bawo angithi banganthathe ukuthi ngizama ukubakhulumela ngibakhulumele kodwa ke ufanele wazi ukuthi ama OEMs bana ma standards wabo bana yonke into isebenza ukusukela kudala yabona noma abo mechanic bethu banalo ulwazi kodwa kukhona bobafana bakufunde kakhulu kule industry in terms of technology nemoto ezingena manje yabona so kuzofanele ukuthi bahlangane kwi-industry nabo abo-mechanic abancane abo-panel beating baselokishini nasemakhaya noma basibabona emgqaqweni ukuthi bakhulumisane kahle ukuthi ukusukela la sizosebenzisana kanjani ukuthi sibe on the same page nani in terms of the technology.
Okay, Baba Modibe, please stay on the line. We'll certainly continue our conversation yet in just a moment. If you just joined us, namhla ke sikhuluma ngema service warranty noma ke ema service plans. Kuthi nangabe uthenga imoto, nyalo ke sekulula ukuthi ungathatha uyoyiservice kuphi nakuphi lapha ufuna khona. You're not only restricted ukuze ukuthi uyiservice lapho ke kusho khona ke that original equipment manufacturers. Ngoba phela lokho lesekwendeka nyalo ukuthi vele you are forced noma kuphocelelekile ukuthi uyimikise lapho kusho bona khona. Kepha i-competition commission sayithe-ke akusekho lokho kusukela ke ngaJulayi kulomnyaka lona so ngayimikisa ke lapho uthanza khona ke namhla ke we joined by Harding Rachisusu from the competition commission siphinde sibe na Sisambanxa from the South African Panel Beaters and Motor Mechanics Association siphinde sibe na Lucius Budibe lomelele ke i-Motor Industry Ombudsman of South Africa. Now Sisa, bosakhuluma ke ngekuthi ke how happy you are as the Motor Mechanics Association kuthi ke i-competition ikhiphe ke i-ruling lenjena ingabe ke ngiyatiphendvula ukuthi ingabe lokho ngeke kubakhinyabete yini banikati betimoto in the medium to long term ngoba phela kune perception nyathi ke nawe uyathi leyo perception lekuthi the independent service providers ema workshop abo they use pirated parts or pirated materials. Some of them are even babita ngemaphone khonge lawatiko ukuthi angeke kuyikhinyabete le moto yini.
Cha baba angeke kwayikhinyabeza kakhulu unyanisile xa uthi perception ngoba nawo ama dealerships nama manufacturers in fact they don't manufacture ama components kunama independent component manufacturers ama independent component manufacturers ingawo la a supplier even the aftermarket ama dealerships nama aftermarket sinawo amanye abangeke ngiwabize ngegama khona be South Africa enza ama-parts apha eSouth Africa. If you go to the independent space shops ezisezilokishini ufumana the same thing oyifumanayo kuma dealerships. So into nje eyenzekayo is that ukuthi lento lena has been happening for years, and this is angena ebantwini as if mhlawumbi the only repair or service that you can get uzoyifumana kuphela kuma dealerships. It's true, akhona wona ama aftermarket, angeke size zibalekele, kodwa ke sinenhlelo esizenzayo nesizakuzenza sibambisene nazo zonke stakeholders. Even nje ubaba uMdibe echilo wathi siyasebenzisana sizozama ukuthi sisebenzisana ama OEMs or ama dealerships, ngoba injongo yethu is not to fight or to destroy each another. Injongo zethu is encourage inclusiveness. When we went to the competition commission, it's not that we wanted to be say we win or they lose or whoever lose or win. Besifuna indlela ukuthi simamelane so that we can reach each other sikhona ukusebenzisana. So as from now up to the 1st of July 2021, that's the process that we're going to embark on, awareness and trying to form relations nama OEMs and with their dealerships. Because enye into challenge now, Mr. Modibe will remember when in 2017 when we met, I was part of the panelists. I said our members, in fact, to correct, it's not South Africa, it's just African Panel Beaters and Motor Mechanics Association. Our members, even if these guidelines were to start then, they were still going to have a challenge because the guys in the townships, we still have a challenge of the skill, we still have a challenge of the state-of-the-art workshops. But we are talking to the government to support us on that as well. But as I'm saying, it has been that perception, and the issue here is security or equality, repairs, issue here, skill. Those are the things that there are already workshops that have got a capacity and capable in doing what the dealerships are doing currently now.
You know, Sister, you seem to be disputing the assertion that has been made by the original equipment manufacturers, manufacturers etimoto lokuthi nangabe ufaka li part lelingasiyo la le moto or a foreign brand which is not in any way associated with this particular car brand, lokho ke kutayilimata ke leyo moto leyo in the medium to long term. So in a sense, lawo manufacturers lawo ke, they are essentially protecting the car owners. Kusho ukuthi baronge kusho njalo.
Barongo kakhulu. That's why nditsho Mhlekazi ndithi noba ungaya all over the world angeke uyifumanise ayikho nenye company ema manufacturers enefirm yayo efactory yenza ama parts. Kunama independent manufacturers, as I said, ama components. So they buy where we buy. It's just that Tina basically na power or muscle to import our parts. If you go to China, they buy in the same factories that we buy, but it's just packaged differently for individual customer, whether it's a manufacturer or a dealership. But as I said, we can't dispute that in every component or sector, we are counterfeit goods. That's why we need to work together and make sure that we don't allow or open the room or let the criminals or people that are doing counterfeit parts enter into the space using these automotive guidelines that have been developed by the Competition Commission. We know what is genuine, we know what is not genuine. We know what is a part that is that you can put in the car, but definitely it's not true. They've said that in 2017 that the reason why they're closing out the market, because I asked them one question. If you buy a car X in warranty, after 3 years it's out of warranty, it remains car X. They don't take it out and it's still on the road. And the hamba la endleleni la uhamba khona le moto yakho in warranty ingusigedla njalo. So we need to extend to sense sure ukuthi these parts esizaziyo ukuthi zigenuine sibe access sonke kuzo, because into abayenzayo they're inflating ama parts, inflating too much parts, and then just wrong the consumers. They control that within that 2-3 years. They make sure that they've ripped off the consumers. After 3 or 5 years, they don't care about what happens with your car. So if their argument was genuine, they would make sure that they are involved in a lifespan yemoto up until it's scrapped or whatsoever. So I disputed, in fact, from 2014 up until now. I still dispute it. But as I'm saying, what I encourage is that we encourage inclusiveness. Let them contact me. I'll be contacting them. Let us contact each other and come down and sit and see how can we all best
And I
serve
guess
the
that is
consumer.
that's the most important aspect of this conversation. Kutsike, consumers, they need to be protected at all times. Sisa, please stay on the line. Now Hardin Ratisusu, I want to engage you a little bit further on this, so please be on standby. We'll certainly be coming to you in just a moment. If you just joined us, namhlanje sikhuluma nge-ruling le competition commission ekutheni ke nangabe uthenge imoto songayisevisa noma ke uyilungise kuphi noma ngikuphi lapho ufuna khona awukakaphoceleki ke ukuthi uyimikise lapho ukuthi awufuna khona ke i-manufacturer noma lapho uyithenge khona. Leli lungelo lakho siphinde sibuye emva kwelekhefu. You can be part of this conversation. Call us on 011-714-6918 noma ke 011-714-6919. You can email your thoughts to consumer@sabc.co.za. Ungaphinde usifole futhi ku Facebook. Let's go straight to Mr. Hardin Ratisusu. Hardin, ingabe ke i-South African Bureau of Standards, was it involved in any way in determining or checking the quality of the aftermarket parts?
Indeed, and it's quite important this because when we started the process, we involved the standards authorities and we have been engaging with them. But what's important, and this is a very crucial thing, that when we talk about parts, there are original parts that are branded, and there are parts so-called equal quality matching parts that are coming directly from manufacturers. So these are parts that are, generally cheaper than the branded parts. And within warranty cars, this is the issue, that the independent service provider, so if you take your car to an independent service provider and they repair your car using that part, you are likely to void your warranty. You are likely to void your maintenance plan. And this is something that we think needs to be paid, particular attention. So we are not encouraging the use of counterfeit parts, as CISA has said. And the issue again of maintenance plan, this is something that it's a novelty in South Africa, by the way. And all we are asking for is that consumers, by the way, need to know how much it costs, how much this motor plan costs. We have asked OEMs to split this so that we can know how much is the cost of the vehicle, how much is the cost of the maintenance plan, so that we can stimulate some competition so the consumer can be able to shop around for maintenance. But this is something that OEMs have been resisting. They also use maintenance plans as something that, as a mechanism to exclude even the independent service providers, both repairers and the maintenance service provider. So these maintenance plans, I think, need to be looked at quite carefully. We have paid particular attention to this, and we need transparency here. And it's important that independent service providers are not restricted from participating in this market. As CISA has said, we're talking about exclusion. This is the most important thing. We're also talking about protection of consumers, but also increasing the levels of competition in the space, which we have not seen. So this is something that standards authorities, as your initial question was, have we engaged the standards authorities? We are working very closely with the standards authorities, and they are working even with SARS. They work closely with the revenue authorities because we don't want to see counterfeit goods in our country. So this is not what we promote at all. And we know that CISA and its association and many other associations, this is not what they stand for. They stand for good business. The challenge is that when it's black business, it's equated with counterfeit. Black is not inferior. Black does not mean inferior business. So this is what we need to demystify, because we want our small medium enterprises, particularly those owned by historically disadvantaged individuals, to participate equitably in this market.
And I suppose the crux of this ruling, Harding, is competition or promoting healthy competition amongst all competitors. And as I've just said earlier on, that you are disputing what the motor mechanics have said, that you are promoting the sale of counterfeit goods. So in hindsight, is the aftermarket parts industry a closed or an inclusive one?
From what we have seen, and this is the challenge, and I think the only aftermarket becomes competitive maybe after 5 years of a motor vehicle, which means the vehicle is out of warranty. It's a vehicle now that needs more maintenance. In fact, consumers realize that the OEMs are much more expensive, and then they turn to the aftermarket service providers. So from in warranty, this is the part. This is where we want our independents to participate.
Okay.
From in warranty, where we have more motor vehicles, where we have scope for individuals to even take up insurance, right? Where we have scope, we have raised in our guidelines that even insurers have to ensure that they appoint these service providers equitably. If you want to repair your car, if it's in warranty, you will find that in an area in Gauteng, if you have these German brands, you will find that you can only repair it in very few places. This is an anomaly in a growing market in South Africa. We cannot have the market structures of pre-1994 for a market that has been growing since 1994. We cannot entrench the apartheid legacy, and we want to unshackle this. We need to open up this space to ensure that the previously disadvantaged firms and individuals participate equitably. Yes, at the in-warranty level, at the age where the vehicle is still new, this is pretty much a closed market.
All right, please hold your thought, Hardin. We've got our first caller, Sina Alex, ulapha Park Town.
Hello, Tata Kushani.
Siyaphila Baba, please go straight to the point. What's on your mind?
Okay. No, Papa, ndiyayiva le comment la sendizimamela. Le nto ngoku into endicela ukubuza ukuthi xa uzokwazi mhlawumbi uthatha imoto kaToyota uyofuna mhlawumbi ipasi kwa-BM, ayizukwenza mhlawumbi le nto ukuthi ingxaki mhlawumbi kufanele ukuthi ufuna i-fake kola cala, and mhlawumbi kufanele ukuthi iyadroba ivinda kodwa zaboza abantu bafumana zii-fake enizifumana kwendawo uyazibona into eziqhubekayo. Okwesibini, cela ubuza akutheni thina SA singenakwazi ebrand yethu eSouth Africa. Mhlawumbi ufanele ukuthi lezi zimoto mhlawumbi zisuka abroad zikwazi u-establishwa apha eSouth Africa. Why singenakukreata ibrand yethu sokwazi ukukhompyutha like oma-India sinemoto yethu yonke into sizenzela sifunde kwabantu why?
Oh, please repeat that question, Alex.
Alabona?
Sicela ukuthi uphinzele umbuto baba.
Lithi igama netata okokuqala lithi ingaba mhlawumbi ayizibona ingxaki ukuthi zothatha imoto emedia bathina mhlawumbi repair imoto yakhe yofuna ipart mhlawumbi kwa-BMW yanti ufuna ukuthi ufune lo part uyifuna phaa nawe mhlawumbi ufumane nje ipart engiyiyo ufumane the cheapest ibe ngangula mgangatho awuze mhlawumbi udropha mhlawumbi umgangatho wakwa-BM ofumana ifeki yayiqonda kwenye imarket. Okwesibini ibuza into eyi-one awukheni eSouth Africa kule minyaka engasingenakho ibrand South Africa sifane noma India sifane noma China yabo at least okwazi udide.
Okay.
Because we must create an event to maziza maziba whatever is then to compete in amazwe abroad, you understand, 50-50 50-50 thenga yethu then ilathi irand iyakwazi ubhalansa.
Okay, Alex, siyabonga kakhulu kusishayela. Thank you so much for your question. Tini intetho ke tikhona ke kuphendvula lo mbuto lo. Gentlemen, I'm going to pose that question to you. Sisa ngicela ngawe ke ngivile kumbuto wa Alex uthi ke why isn't it possible for South Africa ukuthi ke bakhe their own car parts?
Thank you for the question. I think there are components that are manufacturers in South Africa.
Okay.
It might happen that he doesn't know. Like in South Africa, we manufacture shocks, we manufacture filters, we manufacture some of the number of components. But I think it's very important, but at a very, very less scale or a percentage. That's what we need to encourage now. that the South Africans must manufacture components internally. I think it's cuts across automotive industry in all the sectors. South Africa, I don't know whether after 94 or year 2000, the manufacturing locally has been dropped. That's why our economy is bleeding. We are no longer producing, we are only consuming. But now that we have these guidelines, and we are not only focusing in only servicing and repairing, we are also focusing in manufacturing. As an association, we are talking to manufacturers that are abroad, trying to forge relationships. And in fact, we want not only make the components, we want to also manufacture the South African vehicle. We have never had a South African vehicle for years. I mean, we've been importing, and the government is spending too much money in these OEMs. They subsidize them for importing. They also subsidize them for exporting. Most vehicles that gets to be assembled in South Africa, the majority are sold offshore. So I don't know why we cannot do our own. If we put our heads together, we can definitely have our own components manufactured locally up until the end product. We have our own vehicle manufactured in South Africa.
Okay, siyabonga kulelo phuzu lelo. Ke bekunene ke namhla sikhuluma nge-ruling noma ke i-ruling elekhishwe i-Competition Commission lokusho ukuthi nabe uthenge imoto nyalo ke sekulula ukuthi ungayithatha leyo moto leyo uyoyilungisisa kuphi na kuphi lapho ke ufuna khona, and awukakaphoceleki futhi ukuthi uyimikise lapho kusho khona lapho ke uyithenge khona. Ke namhla ke sina Sisambanxa from the South African Panel Beaters and Motor Mechanics Association, siphinze sibe na Hardin Ratsusu, i-Competition Commission, the very same commission that issued this ruling. Siphinze sibe na Lucius from the Motor Industry Ombudsman South Africa. Please call us 0117146918 noma ke 0117146919. Please bekunene siyacela ukuthi nangabe ke niyasishayela, sicela ukuthi uvale mabonakude wakho ngoba sinebukhuni kukuva nangabe uyasishayela kanti ne-TV yakho ivulekile. Leli lungelo lakho ke bekunene asasisishelele ngasetitolo. Sokwamukela futhi ke mbukele, khumbula ukuthi nawe ungaba ingcenye lohlelo ongekushayela ucingo ku 0117146918 noma ke 0117146919. You can also email your views and your thoughts to consumer@sabc.co.za or catch us on our social media platforms. Namhla ke bekunene sina Lucius Budibe from the Motor Industry Ombudsman South Africa, and he joins us now. Lucius, ingabe ke kumcoka ke lothi sathi lokuthi who controls the quality of lama products noma ke the after service products?
Baba uzokhumbula ukuthi thina si motor industry ombudsman umsebenzi wethu ukusombulula ama arguments ama disputes between the industry nabathengi bemoto. Manje we draw our mandate from the Consumer Protection Act 68 of 2008, the South African Automotive Industry Code of Conduct. So, uma sithola i-complaint emayelana ne-quality noma emayelana nama-defects, sesicheke ukuthi le moto le umuntu a-complaina ngayo noma le part umuntu a-complaina ngayo, did it meet the good engineering requirements or practices? So we only have a reference from the manufacturer which was telling this part was genuine or was not genuine. So I think in this instance, kubalulekile ukuthi industry, your OEMs and non-OEMs and abo panel beaters, abo APMA, members of APMA, bafanele bahlangane bakhulumisane ukuthi basete ama-standards ukuthi this is how we're going to work. Because mina personally ngisebenzile kule industry. I was once a service advisor, and ngiye ngabona abo apprentice abo AP umuntu asebenzisa i-hand computer noma i-intelligence test emotweni and upload noma ECUs. Yabona kuyabonakala ukuthi kuzofanele kube ne-training abantu bethu fanele bazohamba through yona ukuthi bazozwana nama-OEMs bonke bathwane ngento eyi-one.
All right, siyabonga kakhulu ke Lucius kusendela ke lelo phuzule. Let's take our next caller. Sina Gugu ulapha eRichards Bay. Siyakumuhle ehlele sawubona.
Sawubona.
Ninjani mama?
Siyaphila.
Khuluma nathi mama, what's on your mind?
Ngicela ukubuza njengoba kuthiwa imoto singayisa noma ikuphi lapha ezoserviswa khona. Uma ukuthi sene warranty izokhokha yini i-warranty?
Sicela uphindze lo mbuto mama.
Ngizwa uthi i-competition commission isisungayisa imoto noma ikuphi ukuyiservisa. Then ngibuza ukuthi ke uma ngabe imoto ise under warranty ngaleso sikhathi izokhokha yini i-company leyo yemoto?
Okay, all right. Siyabonga kakhulu makuguge kuleyo mbuto loyo. Sina Hardin from the Competition Commission, which we hope utawuphendvula. Hardin, I'm sure you got that question. Makuguge is asking if I take the car to a repairer which is under a warranty, will that particular repairer still pay it out?
This is a very important question she's asking. So there's of course, there's a warranty, which is an obligation of that manufacturer, so the seller of that motor vehicle, that they must honor. There is the maintenance plan, which the consumer pays for. And what we are saying here in these guidelines is that we should be able to unbundle the car from the maintenance plan so that the customer is able to control and take ownership of their maintenance plan so that they can have a choice. Right now, they don't have a choice. So if once you have a maintenance plan, as an example, you are locked in. So there's no incentive for you to shop around. And this sometimes leave the consumers, uninformed because they never know how much it costs to repair, something in a motor vehicle. Immediately the car comes out of a maintenance plan, there are a lot of shocks. So a person takes a car to the dealership, the prices they get they shock them, and then they go to the independents. When they go to the independents don't have access to the right diagnostics. We are talking about in the guidelines that there must be the sharing of technical information. The OEMs, they do share technical information with the dealers. This information has to be shared in an equitable fashion, which is how it happens in Europe. So when there's a new car, for everyone to be able to know how to maintain the car, they get to receive the workbooks, this is how you look at this car, this is what you need to do, and they should be able to acquire the diagnostics. So indeed, the question she's asking is more related to the maintenance plan aspects of this equation. Where there is warranty, of course, if you have an item covered under warranty by an OEM, well, you should take it to the OEM to honor that warranty. It's only when you have something that's not covered with warranty, because warranty doesn't cover everything, even if it's a new car. So when you take it to an independent, there's a risk that you lose your warranty. That's where foreclosure comes in. That's where the exclusion comes in. So the OEMs tend to use these warranties, maintenance plan, to foreclose the independents from participating in the market of these in-warranty motor vehicles.
And I guess Gugu's question will raise various questions around the difference between service plan and maintenance plans and what each covers, and as well as, what a warranty entails. So you spoke of unbundling. So is that maintenance plan, Hardin, very costly when it is tied to the vehicle? In short, will unbundling it make any difference?
Well, this is an area where we think a motor plan, they cost sometimes up to 20% of a motor vehicle cost. Okay, so this is a very significant cost item. Unbundling it introduces a level of competition. We know that there are service providers in South Africa who offer maintenance plans. So immediately you open up that space. A customer, when you buy a motor vehicle, you will be able to choose at the point of sale. So if you are financing your vehicle with a bank and the bank says, for me to finance you, you must at least secure the asset through a maintenance plan, you choose which service provider you go with. Right now, when you buy a car, it comes bundled with a motor plan. Consumers are not aware of what is the cost of this motor plan, and whether, in fact, you don't expect a motor plan to be expensive when the car is still new. You expect very minimal amounts because that car is still new. It should be operating optimally. It should still be functional, when it's still new. So we see this as an element where you could introduce competition and lower the cost of maintenance plans in South Africa, which also will ensure that our independents then get to benefit from these plans. Currently, they don't. They are excluded from this market, which is a very significant market.
Now, the Competition Commission has also said or directed that the OEMs must adopt certain measures, to promote the entry of new motor body repairers with a preference for firms owned by the, I'll call them historically disadvantaged individuals. So how would that work? How would that process work?
We expect OEMs to change their selection criteria in determining who repairs their cars at a certain point in time. Currently, this market is limited to quite a few players. So we are expecting more preference for HDR. So with these guidelines in force, we don't expect unnecessary and undue exclusion of HDIs from being part of a network if they meet the relevant criteria. And of course, the criteria should not be so onerous that no HDI may be able to meet such. And those are the same questions that apply to dealerships. If you look at dealerships, you have, in South Africa, dealerships are, in fact, independent dealerships are owned by very large firms. And you are not finding dealerships, very few, you count black-owned dealerships in South Africa. It's very, very few. And with a growing market that we have, we expect also that dealers, that aspect of the market should be transparent, and OEMs are pretty much in control of that, who participate in that space and so forth. So we expect more transparency in the beginning. We also expect more access of these independents. So when these guidelines come in force in July, we are expecting a revolution, if I can characterize it in that way, in this market. And I'm glad that Cesar is saying he's engaging already. We want to engage, the next 6 months. Let's see engagements, with these stakeholders so that come July, all firms that participate in this space do comply with these guidelines.
Okay, Sisa, so tivele harding no, they need to get more engagement from you in order to take this matter forward. And ngifuna ukubuta ke Sisa ukuthi ngibani kahle kahle lo controller the quality of lama products in the aftermarket industry. Na ukuthi ke ngidawathi ngani ke mina ke ngingumowner wemoto ukuthi I'm not being given a substandard service.
Thank you, Simpiwe. This is a massive and a huge topic, Simpiwe. I think we had 5 hours to talk about. I think we still need to come because we've got nice policies in South Africa and nice legislation, and unfortunately the consumers are not aware of. And as Mr. Rasushu has said, when the vehicle is new and people, they say it's in warranty, it's not the whole vehicle that is in warranty. The only thing that is under warranty most of the time is the engine and the gearbox. But currently we are not allowed to change the fender or to change whatsoever. If you do that with the independent, you lose your warranty. And they are, as he correctly put it, they are independent companies that they sell independent service plan and independent, the maintenance plans. Okay. And did you know that up until now, or up until 1st of July, you buy a new vehicle and then you buy the service plan up front. You pay it is financed by whoever is financing your vehicle. You owe and the extended warranty, in fact, because you get an extended warranty when the car is new, up to 3 years or 7 years whatsoever. If that car gets involved in an accident and gets written off, and then you are not getting back your money, And these guidelines are saying to the consumers now, if your car gets written off and then you're buying another car, that money that you have paid in that particular vehicle has to be transferred to the new vehicle.
Okay.
If you are not buying a new vehicle, that money has to be paid back to you or to your financer.
Okay.
Now, and then I'll come to your question, but India have conducted an investigation, and they've discovered that many leading OEMs there are overpricing the parts. In some cases, they put 1,000% markup. An example, if the car costs 100,000, if you price the parts independently, the cost of the vehicle will go to 500,000. So this is a great...
We'll get to that point after the break, Sisa. Please hold your thoughts. Let's take a final break now.
Okay, thank
Welcome to our very last segment on the show. Siyaqhubeka futhi nenkulumo yethu ke bekunene ke sitawucela nje ukuthi ke ama guest ethu avele asivalelise. Now Lucius Budibe, I'm going to ask you to share with us your closing comments.
Thank you very much. We, as the motor industry ombudsman, remain neutral. As you remember, in the process of resolving disputes between the industry and consumers, we are required to be fair and impartial. However, we urge the industry at large to come together and discuss this matter further so that consumers are clear.
All right.
From
Lucius, thank you so much for joining us. Lucius Budibe, we are out of time. Harding, please share with us your closing comments about the discussion we've been having today.
No, thank you very much. Indeed, we, as the Competition Commission, we are encouraged with the response from the market, from the consumers, from the repairers. So we look forward to OEMs adopting these guidelines to ensure that we transform the markets for competition and for market access. Thank you very much. And we'll engage with the Ombudsman and everybody else involved in this.
All right, Haring, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Now, Sisa, emagama ke gcina salgogodwa hlelo.
Thank you. Government is the major fleet owner. They spend plus or minus 10 billion in servicing and maintaining their vehicles every year. So we call upon the government to support this initiative by ensuring that it supports us so that we can be able to meet the standards that are required for us to work in warranty vehicles. The consumers who are working on the database, there will be
all right, Sister, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks to all three of you gentlemen for joining us. We do appreciate your time. Bugeleke, that's how we come to the end of today's show. Join us again next time for yet another consumer affairs discussion. Please note that our studio lines are only operational from 12 midday to 1 p.m. only on Monday. So please do not call these lines when we are off air. From Miss Impio and the rest of the team, Sisin Salagasi.